I woke up to the sound of seagulls and bells, both loud, both distant. Their calls echoed through the damp wooden ribs of the ship, rising and falling with the slow creak of the tide. It was hard to tell where one sound ended and the next one began. The sea and sky had their own language, and this morning it spoke clearly. We were close. I rubbed the sleep from my eyes and sat up, stiff from another night in a cot that might as well have been carved from driftwood. The sea had not been kind to me these past few days. Nothing dangerous, just persistent, bone-deep dampness that settled into everything. Boots, bedroll, bones. Still, the bells meant land, and land meant progress. I grabbed my bag, still mostly packed, and slung it over my shoulders. My boots thudded softly on the steps as I climbed. The wood beneath me groaned like it was tired too, tired of carrying the passengers like me across uncertain waters. When I pushed open the hatch to the deck, the sun hit me full in the face, hot and bright, like stepping into a forge. I blinked, raised a hand, and squinted out towards the horizon. And then, I saw it. Rentalia. The city rose from the water like a dream built in marble and light. Spires stretched upwards like the fingers of gods, and banners of white and gold danced in the wind. Sunlight gleamed off rooftops and domes, and for a second, it looked like the entire city was floating. I leaned on the ship's railing, just breathing it in. This was no ordinary port. Rentalia was legend, the sanctum of wings and wisdom, cradle of scholars, priests, and history. First stop on the trip, the one that mattered most. Another adventure begins, I guess, I muttered. My voice was rough from disuse, but a grin crept in anyway. It felt good. I haven't smiled much lately. The ship pulled into the harbor, slow and sure. The crew calling out to each other, ropes tossed and tied, cargo hauled. The scent of salt gave way to fish, spice, and lamp oil as we closed in on the docks. Rentalia's harbor was alive, truly alive. Fishermen shouted prices in all sorts of languages. White-robed acolytes weaved through the crowd like pale ghosts, hands full of scrolls. Seagulls circled above like dragons. I stepped off the gangplank and barely made it 3 steps before a guard blocked my path. His armor shone bright in the morning light, silver, with feather-like etchings along the chest plate. A ceremonial blade rested at his hip, though. I had no doubt it was sharp enough to matter. Welcome to Rentalia, Sanctum of Wings and Wisdom. What business do you have here? His tone was polite, but only barely. The kind of voice that said we'll get along just fine as long as you stay where I can see you. Just visiting the Eternal Atheneum. For research. I handed him a folded letter bearing the king's crest, golden wax stamped with the wing seal of House Rentalia. He turned it over, and his gloved hands broke the seal and skimmed it. After a moment, he nodded once and stepped aside. You're cleared. Don't stray into the upper districts. Not without written permission. Wouldn't dream of it. You don't spend more than a few minutes in Rentalia without realizing who runs this place. Not just in name, but in spirit. The whole city belongs to the archangel Darius Uriel. Statue of him stand on every corner, wings spread wide, eyes turned to the heavens. Some look serene, others wrathful. A reminder, I think, that even angels have moods. The streets twisted and turned through sunlit alleys and shadowed arcades. Children in pale cloaks scattered handfuls of golden feathers as they ran between shop stalls. Banners fluttered above archways. Even the cobblestones were carved, each one etched with glyphs, worn, nearly smooth by 1,000 years of feet. I followed the main road up into Uriel Square, the city's heart. It opened suddenly before me, and in its center, the Radiant Church, a towering masterpiece of mirrored glass and ivory stone. Its dome glinted with sunfire, casting broken rainbows across the pavement. Pilgrims knelt outside the steps, while others whispered prayers. I didn't stop. Not yet. My destination lay beyond. The Eternal Atheneum stood high above the city, the end of a long climb most locals avoided unless they had business worth the effort. 500 steps, they said. White granite, worn smooth by centuries. I counted every single one. At the top, the wind hit me again. Cooler now, touched with mountain air. The library stood before me, massive and quiet. No fanfare, no guards, just knowledge. Waiting. Some say it holds every truth that hasn't been lost to war or flame, and I believe it. I've spent weeks there now, poring over texts, decoding glyphs, reading everything I could get my hands on. From personal diaries to celestial charts to fragments of scripture older than anyone remembers. And today, finally, something broke loose. A small, cracked book buried in the wrong shelf. A badly faded leather cover, but inside, some script. Maybe an avian? Slanted, curling letters like vines. It took me hours just to make out the basics. It told a story. An island east of the Red Desert, long forgotten. A place called Xiantle, abandoned, but not erased, not lost. And then came the part that made my blood run colder and hotter all at once. A relic. The MonGoGo. A stone that sees through illusion, fog, misdirection. A compass for the lost. Or maybe something more. The words were poetic, slippery, meant to obscure as much as they revealed. But the feeling in my gut told me what I needed to know. It's real. I sat back in my chair, heart pounding, fingers tight on the book. Outside, the sun had started to fall, casting long lines of gold through the high windows. The library around me was still, like it was holding its breath. This could be it. A direction. A start. I'm not sure what's waiting on that island, or what the MonGoGo truly is, but I do know one thing. It's time to go. Next stop, Teria South. The land of 1,000 winds, and home to the Anavians.